Test, test.
How wonderful it is to be back here in a newer, larger, more expansive tent that's very bright. But that's okay, because we want to see, and we certainly want to see one another. That's the gift of coming back home. It's a long time since we sat together mostly in the same space, and especially for the Holy Days. Last year's Holy Days seems like a different world, and yet we're still dealing with a lot of the same stuff. We are being very safe. We are being very aware and sensitive to everyone's needs. And for those of us who are here together, we are just thrilled that you feel comfortable coming back home. Of course, we're coming home to a place that's the same and different, just as we are the same and different. The world's a different place, and so we have to adjust. What's teshuvah, the big word of the year, the season, the day? if not coming back home. Teshuvah, return, but really turning towards home. Home being the people we want to be that we haven't quite arrived at yet. Those character traits, all the stuff inside that we haven't quite actualized over this past year. And so this is our chance to step back and to celebrate that act of coming home. To be more, to be better, and knowing we're not doing it alone. We are coming home to each other together.
We return. We return.
We return.
We return. Return again. We return.
We return.
We return.
We return.
We return, return again and again to love, to love. We return again to love. We return.
We return.
We return.
We return.
We return, return again. We return.
We return.
We return.
We return.
We return, return again and again to truth, to truth, to truth. We return again to truth. Hashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashuva chadesh yameinu kekedem yalalalai yalalai 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 We return.
We return.
We return.
We return.
We return, return again. We return.
We return.
We return.
We return.
We return, return again and again to you. To you. To you. We return, return to you. Yalalai, 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 yalalai,
Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la.
Ya la 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 la,
Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la.
Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la.
Hi everyone, I'm Lily Goldstein, and as of today, I am your new rabbinic intern here at Larchmont Temple. I'm thrilled to be here, and I'm also terrified. Transitions are very stressful, and there are so many names to learn, and so many things that I could mess up, and so many traditions to get the hang of. And part of me wishes I could just race through it all and somehow already know all of you and already know the vibe and get it all. But that's not really what our tradition is about. And tonight, actually, we are going to be very much engaged in slowing down the transition. We have a special double whammy transition of sorts, a Havdalah Selichot service, which teaches us to slow down as we transition from the week, from Shabbat into the week, and to slow down as we transition from the month of Elul, this month preceding the high holidays where we've been preparing, into the real intensive last week of preparation. And so as we end Shabbat together with Havdalah, I'll invite you all to really sit in the transition, and each moment of the ritual, as it builds, we'll find time to reflect on all the ways that we're closing out the week, that we're heading into the new week, the ways that we're heading into this holy time of Selichot, of the high holidays. We begin with the sweetness of the wine, and we'll say a l'chaim to the year that's passed. Think of the ways in which your cup has been filled with joy, the sweetness of the week, the sweetness of the year, the sweetness of all that is to come.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen borei peri hagafen yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 lai.
We next have the energizing scent of the spices, and we'll think of the ways in which this year, this week, our senses came alive. A moment where we felt deep, spicy, maybe sweet energy from the spices.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei minei besamim borei minei besamim yai lai 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 yai lai 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 lai
its capacity to burn, its capacity to light us up. Consider the ways in which your year has had brightness and glow, and which times you may have needed a little more light to illuminate the darkness.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei meorei ha'esh, borei meorei ha'esh. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai lai, yai lai lai.
And with our final blessing, Hamavdil ben Kodesh Lechol, separating the holiness of Shabbat from the rest of the week, we'll hear that the blessing doesn't end it all. There's this hiss that continues afterward as the flame goes out in the wine. And that's this hiss of transition. We're going on and on. As much as these rituals have their structure and beginning and end, we're just continuing on, energized hopefully by the attention and intentionality that we've brought to each of these stages of transitioning.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamavdil ben kodesh lechol, ben or lechoshek b'bnei Yisrael ha'amim, ben yosron ufri l'sheshet yamei ha'maaseh. Baruch atah Adonai, hamavdil ben kodesh lechol. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai lai, yai lai lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Hamavdil ben kodesh lechol, chatoteinu yimchol. Zareinu v'chospeinu yarbe kachol, v'chakochavim ba'alayla. Shavua tov, 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 shavua tov. A good week, a week of peace, may gladness reign and joy increase. A good week, a week of peace, may gladness reign and joy increase. Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishbi, Eliyahu, Eliyahu, Eliyahu Hagiladi. Bimhera v'yameinu, yavo eleinu. Mashiach ben David, Mashiach ben David, Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishbi, Eliyahu, Eliyahu, Eliyahu Hagiladi.
Shavua Tov. It always feels a little weird at moments like this because we're supposed to be hugging and drooling on people as we normally would. It's not a safe thing to do, but we are giving one another virtual hugs, and by the tears welling up and the feeling in our heart, and that the beautiful challenge, which is to live in the transition. Why do I always say? I always say Lily Goldstein, but it's a Goldstein. It is Gold. It is. See, I always get it wrong. So I should know this because our new rabbinic intern was an academy kid and confirmand at Larchmont Temple, though she went to WRT, probably 40, 50 years ago. I think it was maybe 11, 12, something like that. But it is a gift to have Lily Goldstein back as our rabbinic intern. I'm very excited.
Me too.
The tradition we now begin with is really important to say it's in memory of somebody who was the preeminent shamus of Larchmont Temple. We changed the Torah mantles with Bob Gross in our hearts. Bob Gross was a unique figure who couldn't stop himself from telling really rude and awful jokes. Bob is remembered, however, for doing things like shining all the silver in the ark overnight without us imagining he was doing it, or arranging the old glass cases in the old Kiddush room, or taking home a yacht and fixing it by soldering it himself, and taking all the pictures that we ever wanted in Temple, because that's what he did. He had a photo store with his wonderful wife, Linda. May she rest in peace. But Bob was the preeminent shamus because he did it without being asked. He just magically appeared and made things happen without Rabbi Poehler or Cantor Graham, or certainly me, asking him to do. But he did it out of the goodness of his heart. We changed the Torah mantles in a very similar way, knowing that on the outside, they're going to be different. But that's not what matters. They're going to change with our current shamus and Torah king, Dr. Tom Landau, helping me to do that, because the Torah's now magically changed all the mantles, which he and Judy have gifted us, the festival mantles, which is awesome. They are changed, but it's not about change on the outside. It's about the change on the inside that we're capable of making. You can change into nice High Holy Day clothes. You can put on your suit and tie and a beautiful dress, but that doesn't really amount to teshuvah. Teshuvah starts inside. And so ceremonially, we change this last of our Torah mantles. Dr. Tom. Oh, I have to do this reading. Yeah, can you see this reading? Can you see this? Join me. Now is the time for turning. The leaves are beginning to turn from green to red and orange. The birds are beginning to turn and are heading once more toward the south. The animals are beginning to turn to storing their food for the winter. For leaves, birds, and animals, turning comes instinctively, but for us, turning does not come so easily. It takes an act of will for us to make a turn. It means breaking with old habits. It means admitting we have been wrong, and this is never easy. It means breaking with old habits. It means losing face. It means starting all over again, and this is always painful. It means saying, I am sorry. It means recognizing that we have the ability to change. These things are terribly hard to do, but unless we turn, we'll be trapped forever in yesterday's ways. Holy One, help us to turn. Have a seat, Tom. Have a seat. Have a seat. Have a seat, and I'll do it with you. No? No? You don't want to sit? No? Okay.
For an isolation, there is no life.
Stay right there. Of course. Teshuvah, a word from Rabbi Zoe Klein. Wonderful, artful crafter of words. Is she at Temple of Isaiah?
Yes.
In Tarzana. In Tarzana.
No, she's at Temple Isaiah.
In Tarzana, right? Tarzana.
No, next to Fox Studios.
Next to Fox Studios. Thank you for putting that out, Cantor. I appreciate that. Zoe Klein writes, when we say return, we do not mean go backwards. What we mean is return to the path. This is the time of year we measure how far we've gone astray and recalibrate how to get back on track. Not back on a stalled train, but back on a working track so we can venture on. We are here to move and to be moved, to grow and change, to shed old habits and respark our curiosity. The word for Jewish law, halacha, literally means the way. It shares a root with lalechet, the verb to walk. Judaism is about how we walk through the world, how we move. As the song of life keeps changing and we learn new steps and move into new wisdom, new dreams, a new world, our new year.
Shivenu Adonai Elecha V'nashuva Chodesh Yameinu
It was hard to arrange the church bells to ring just at this moment as I was about to share. And it's I pay them to do that. So Teshuvah starts by seeing ourselves. The great stories told, and was told, I heard it directly from Rabbi Wolf Kelman, alav hashalom, who was the rabbi on Long Island of a giant conservative congregation, and at the time, the president of the conservative movement. Wolf Kelman tells the story of his son Levi, who became the rabbi, now retired, emeritus of Kol HaNeshama, an amazing Reform congregation in Jerusalem, where we often go on our mission, or we used to go on our mission to Israel as a group. And Wolf Kelman tells the story of his young boy Levi asking, can God see God's self? And Wolf, being a wise rabbi, stroked his beard. He actually had that goatee, really cool goatee, and said, let's talk in the morning. In the morning, they're brushing their teeth in the same bathroom, and Rabbi Kelman says to his son, Levi, when you want to see yourself, what do? He said, well, I look in the mirror. Of course. He said, well, when God wants to see God's self, the Holy One looks at you to see if she can see herself in the best of what you do. And so that is our aim, to look inside. So I'm going to have you to close your eyes for a sec. By the way, I'm getting all kinds of different sound effects, which is amazing. That's great. Close your eyes for a sec. Close your eyes. Look in the mirror. The real mirror in the bathroom. Maybe the one near your dresser. See the outside of your face. See who you are. See the image now, and you look and say, isn't this my father, my mother? Look in that image. See the lines of your face. See the things you love about how you perhaps resemble someone else who's long gone. See your mouth, your nose, your brow, your hair, or not so much. See the things you wish you could change, or that have changed. It's you, unmistakably, beautifully, imperfectly you. And now, look inside. Not at the outside image, but what God sees. See inside to your kishkis, to your spirit and soul, to your brokenness and struggle. See what the Holy One sees when the Holy One looks in you. Take a minute. Think about what the Holy One's hinting that you should work on, that you might change, that you might repair, that you might uplift, that you might spark and grow into a radiant, warming flame. What does God see when the Holy One looks inside you? You can't make this stuff up, Cantor. I'm telling you right now. Whose idea was this, the tent? Anybody? I thought it was such a good build-up. Anyway, so the whole point for us is to think about, what is it that we want to change? What is it from the inside, obviously, not the outside, that we need to work on? As you come up with it over the next 30 seconds, or already have thought about, boy, I wish I could, I really need to, I hope I can. If you want to share it with somebody near you, or listen to somebody else, that would be a beautiful beginning of turning to one another. The road to return begins when we share what's inside.
אחת שאלתי מאת אדוני, אחת שאלתי אותה אבקש, אחת שאלתי מאת אדוני, אחת שאלתי אותנו אבקש, שבתי שבתי בבית אדוני, שבתי שבתי arti
You read responsibly. As a clay takes form in a potter's hand, so do we in yours. As words are shaped by a poet's hand, so are we by yours. As a ship takes its course from a sailor's hand, so do we from yours. As threads are patterned by a weaver's hand, so are we by yours. We're about to move into Vidui, which is a public admission communally of the various sins, shortcomings, characteristics that we want to work on. And as Rabbi Serkman explained earlier, this whole initiative, this whole journey is about teshuvah, about turning back, returning, repenting. And much ink has been spilled over teshuvah. It's not the most straightforward process. Return is a really nice word, but it can be complicated to get back to where we ought to be. And the medieval Rabbi Maimonides has a whole list of instructions for how we achieve teshuvah, how we do this returning. And as part of this list of instructions, he talks about a public, verbal expression of sin, admission of sin. And it can be awkward to say when we've fallen short. It can be awkward to say it out loud. It can be awkward to say it among people we love and respect. But that's part of the work. To be seen face to face by each other, admitting the ways that we can do better, admitting the ways that we haven't done so well in the past, putting it out in words in the hope that that can be one of the many steps to then do better and try better, so that next year, when we recite those same words communally, maybe we've moved a little further and gotten a little stronger and grown a little bit more.
God and God of all generations, may our prayers reach your presence, and when we turn to you, do not be indifferent. Adonai, we are arrogant and stubborn, claiming to be blameless and free of sin. In truth, we have stumbled and strayed. We have done wrong. Together we confess. Together we take responsibility. Ashamnu.
Our confessional, we read responsively. For the sin we committed against you through evading and avoiding because we could not face the truth. So we dissemble and all we do, the excuses we make. For interfering with the souls of others and neglecting their needs. For our foolishness, our folly, and false standards. For our complacency, which blinds us, and our self-righteousness, which lessens us. For charity that is cold and prayers without feeling. For the appeals that we ignored and the people whom we refused. For the visions which faded, the ideals we neglected, and the opportunities we lost. For saying prayers aloud, but refusing to listen.
I did my best, it wasn't much. I couldn't feel, so I tried to touch. I told the truth, I didn't come to fool ya. And even though it all went wrong, I'll stand before the Lord of song with nothing on my tongue but hallelujah.
The God of the High Holy Days is especially confusing. I once had a friend who called God two-faced. It sort of offended me. He happens to be my best friend, Billy Dreskin, and I said, what do you mean? He said, well, make up your mind. Is God Avinu or Malkeinu? Is God our Father or our King? Is God our parent? Is close at hand, loving and caring? Or is God the ruler on high, looking down at us from that throne in harsh judgment? Is God that sovereign source that rules the universe, that keeps the world moving? Or is God the sacred spark in us that inspires us, that brings light when it gets dark, that shines from inside? Of course, the answer is both. That's what makes Judaism so wonderful. It's the presence that's a paradox. You can't pin God down. The Holy One's way too immense for us to encompass him in our little minds. But that's Avinu Malkeinu and the beauty of us calling on God, especially at this moment. And so we call on a God who is at the very same time right here, inside us and between us, and a God so far beyond that farthest star we couldn't even imagine. Couldn't get there if we traveled on a spaceship for light years. God encompasses all. Perhaps God is all. And so that has to be the source of our help and our teshuvah, our turning our lives and ourselves around. I think we're going to read this together, Cantor, right? Yeah. We should. Share with me in calling on this God so close and yet so far. Forgive us, Avinu, we have sinned. Pardon us, Malkeinu, we have transgressed. For you are the one who pardons and forgives. Or maybe it's this way. Forgive us, Avinu, pardon us, Malkeinu. And God replies, no, it's you. You are the one who must pardon and forgive. Give the ones around you your washing precious time. Forgive your parents. They did the best they could. Forgive the one who betrayed you. Let go of anger and move on. Forgive yourself for your own imperfection.
Avinu Malkeinu, almighty and merciful, answer us with grace. Avinu Malkeinu, Choneinu Vonenu, Ki ein banu ma'asim. Avinu Malkeinu, Choneinu Vonenu, Ki ein banu ma'asim. Aseh imanu tzedaka v'chesed v'hoshinu. Aseh imanu tzedaka v'chesed v'hoshinu. Avinu Keinu, Choneinu Vonenu, Ki ein banu ma'asim. Avinu Malkeinu, Choneinu Vonenu, Ki ein banu ma'asim. Avinu Malkeinu, Choneinu Vonenu. Avinu Malkeinu, Choneinu Vonenu, Ki ein banu. Aseh imanu tzedaka Aseh imanu tzedaka v'chesed v'hoshinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Choneinu Vonenu. Avinu Malkeinu, Choneinu Vonenu, Ki ein banu ma'asim.
So this is, of course, the metaphor of the moment for our holy days as we enter this gateway to teshuvah, enter the road to return, that there are how many books that lie open? You would think 2, right? You would think the book of life and the other one. You'd be wrong, at least according to one tradition in the Talmud. Rabbi Yochanan teaches 3 books are open on Rosh Hashanah. 1 for the holy wicked, 2 for the holy righteous, and 3 for the intermediaries. I understand it in Yiddish, having grown up in a 2-family home where Bobby and Solly lived downstairs and spoke Jewish, so I wouldn't understand, but I took German in high school. And so Bobby would often say, it's nicht dahin and nicht hier, which means, in a Yiddish expression, you're not here and it's not there. So we are caught in the world of in-between, as Yudelamed Peretz, the great Yiddish short story and story writer, would say. We're not yet there, and we're not really here. We are in between. The goal, and really the secret, I think, the key to walking down this road to return, is to know any little act of sincerity of heart, any unexpected kindness, any time we extend ourselves, or notice somebody we never noticed before, or perhaps hear somebody in a different way that we never heard before. Anytime we can open our spirits and our hearts and our hands, especially during this pathway, this road to Teshuvah, that could make all the difference, getting us from that book of Nish Dahin and Nish Here to that wonderful book of life. Where are we, after all, right now? We are at the doorway. One of the great things about pandemic time is I actually read things. Normally during the year, I don't get a chance to read. I only read what I have to read in order to prepare for what I need to teach, and I read only during the summer. But that was not the case this past year plus. I read things every day, and I fell in love with Maggie Smith, who may be Jewish, I don't know. If she isn't, there's a bug in my glasses, sorry. All right. If she isn't, I think she should be. Here's her poem from her newer book, Goldenrod, called Threshold. You want a door you can be on both sides of at once. You want to be on both sides of here and there, now and then, together, and what do we call the life we would wish back, if we could, the before? But any open space may be a threshold, an archway of entering and leaving, crossing a field, wading through nothing but timothy grass. Imagine yourself passing from and into, passing through doorway after doorway after doorway. What's your doorway? It's right there. You walk on that welcome mat that says Teshuvah. You're not sure what it means. Some kind of transitionary time, but you know there's a doorway right there. It has one word on it, meant for you. What does your doorway say? What's that yearning, that hope, that struggle, that brokenness? What's the label on your doorway speaking to you about the new year you have to enter? Think for a minute. Can we get 30 seconds of really good thematic music? Oh, good. And as we hear from Jonathan just some background, think about that word in your doorway, and in a few minutes, or maybe one, we'll share. So if you have an inkling, or if you can see, if it's come into view, what your doorway might say, and you want to share it, you should stand now. If you're willing. It's just one word after all. Other people's doorways may say the same thing. But this one's meant for you. No, everybody's going to stand at the same time. And if you have a doorway word, please stand. I got 2 people who can read the door? What's going on? All right, thank you, thank you, thank you. The word in your doorway. Upward. Upward. Beautiful. Search.
Couldn't settle on one, so it's 2, Rabbi.
Hugs
Hugs and light.
and light. Nice doorway. Yvette. Patience and humility. Shalom. Ina. Welcome. Nice.
My first grade teacher printed in my autograph book, when you reach the door of success, you will find it labeled push.
Push. Great. That's great. Hair.
Sacrifice.
Sacrifice. Louise. Validate. Carolyn. Be whole. Bill. Don't be upset. Be present. Be happy, be well. We're all gonna, oh wait, I didn't see, I'm sorry. Oh, you know what, you got blocked, I'm sorry, that's not it. Commitment. Everybody, if you will, please join us as we stand. My doorway, by the way, says appreciate. We are at the doorway. That's what this road to Teshuvah leads to. Our new year is a doorway. And together, we'll enter.
Hashivenu, Hashivenu, Adonai elecha, Denar Shuvah, Denar Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul. Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul. Return to what you are, return to who you are, return to where you are, born and reborn again. Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul. Yes, we are. Tekiah Gedolah.